A. The lineup of the members are not allowed to talk during the process of the or make any movement which may suggest the identity of the suspect. F. The investigator should not talk or move which may indirectly identify the suspect. G. The proceedings must be covered by details, report, and possibly by a movie camera for court presentation. Center, center point of physical identification. Number 1. Face. A. Shape, square, round, oval, rectangle, heart shape, trape, trape, trapezoid, vested trapezoid, and other appropriate descriptions such as the presence of scars, moles, birthmark, etc. B. Forehead. C. Eyebrow. D. Mustache, sideburns, both. A. Eyes, deep, seated, bulging, regular, chinky, etc. F. Ears, regular, bulging, scoop, shape. G. Cheeks, deep, pointed cheekbone, round, etc. H. Nose, aquiline, regular, wide, big, nose, etc. I. Mouth, small, long, round. G. Jaw, square, regular, deep, prominent, etc. K. Lips, thick, thin, tight, arched upward or downward, etc. I. Teeth missing, yellow, reddish, big, small, etc. M. Chin receding, protruding, clifford, etc. O. Hairs curly, straight, short, cropped, long, few, thick, or bushy, kinky, afro type, etc. 3. Neck short, long, round, sunburned, etc. 4. Shoulder broad, regular, heavy, narrow, etc. 5. Waist rotund, small, regular, bulging, etc. 6. Hands tattoo location, long, short, muscular, thin, scar, birthmark, moles, etc. 7. Fingers missing, extra numbers, short, long, short, fat, regular, etc. 8. Manner of walking, limping, amputated, left or right, or degree, whether up the knee, ankle bone, or others. 9. Voice, baritone, tenor, slow, loud, womanish accent, barking, hoarse, shuddering, broken, etc. 10. Physical appearance, Hispanic, American, Caucasian, Asian, Negroid. 11. Complexion, brown, tan, light, fair, white, black, dry skin, corset, sweaty, or other appropriate description. The physical evidence to identify the criminal. Kinds of physical evidence. Corpus delicti. These are the object or substance which constitute the essential parts or element of the commission of the crime. It is sometimes called body of the crime, not the body of the victim. B. Accusative evidence. Piece of evidence which will link the suspect to the crime scene as a fingerprint, foot or shoe impression are some of the example. C. Tracing evidence. Article which assists the investigator in locating the criminal stolen in possession of the suspect is thus example. Preservation and care of evidence. 1. Purpose. In order that the evidence gathered at the crime scene should have the same substantial condition when they will be presented before the court during trial. Number 2. Marking. The purpose of marking is for a positive and definite identification during trial. Modus operandi. Number 1. Modus operandi defined. Simply, it is the method of the operation by a specific criminal or criminal syndicate. It is established by a serial of a crime under the classification. The modus operandi of the criminal is as distinct and different from the other. It is a criminal trademark, logo, or brand name. Examples are the use of junior-sized crowbar, residential robberies, cooking and eating the kitchen of the victim during the robbery, leaving human excreta on the roofs of victim house, or destroying a roof sheet to gain entry on the resident. This is our but few example. 2. Importance of modus operandi. A. It is one of the most useful means identification and non-forgetives. B. For use security education program of the over the radio television program o seminary about safety education. Karataman sa RPN. Good day, sir. My name is Marvin Joseph Dacelio, and from Section 2, and this is my pre-recorded video. Guides in photographing crime scenes. A. Series of photographs of the crime scene. B. The depicted object in the photograph should not be immaterial or irrelevant. 8. The kinds of photograph to be taken at the scene. A. Photograph of the deceased showing the relationship of the dead body with the surrounding, especially the physical evidence. B. Photographs of evidence showing forcible entry, destroyed padlocks, broken doors and windows, and other relevant signs of disturbance. The use of special photography. A. Such as infrared, ultraviolet, orthostereoscopy, macrophotography, photomicrography, movie camera, etc. B. Photography of environs. B. C. Close-up photography of the wound of the dead body after removal from the scenes. Sketching the crime scenes. Sketch define. It is a graphic representation of the scenes of the crime, with a complete measurement of the relative distance or relevant object condition obtaining therein. B. The general kinds of sketch. Route sketch. It is made by investigator at the crime scenes, which is full of important details, but without the skill of proportion. This is used as the basis for the finished sketch. 2. Finished sketch. This is a sketch with a skill of proportion and drawn by a draftsman. The route sketch and the finished sketch are for a courtroom presentation. The special kinds of sketch. A sketch of locality. It details with the crime scene's relation of the environs to include neighboring buildings, structure, or means of access leading to the scenes. B. Sketch of ground. This kind of sketch which illustrate the scenes of the crime with the nearest physical surroundings, such as a room adjacent of or opposite the room of the crime scene, the number of floors of a building or a house, the yard and other natural structure. C. Sketch in details or cross projection view or the exploded view. It describes the immediate scenes only speci- specifically inside a room as the scenes of the crime. The element of sketch measurement of space of and distance of relevant object to their point of reference. Compass direction, a standard narrow to indicate the north direction. To find the north without compass, determine the east where the sun rises. Facing east, your left side is the north direction. Essential item. All items in the scenes must be included. Never decide outright that, that same items are relevant. School of proportion. It is as element of finished sketch. Legend. This is usually placed at the bottom of sketch inside the sketch of the scene. Title. F. Title. This is a proportion of a sketch to identify the particular cases by the name of a victim, the exact address of the scenes, the date and the time of occurrence, the time of the proportion of the sketch, and the name of the signature of the sketcher. Collection, marking, tagging, and preservation of the evidence. A. Collection evidence is a collected. It is a individually marked with initial of the investigator. B. Marking. Every collected evidence is marked if they are of the same class or type, such as 45 caliber firearm shell. They are marked consecutively, such as RMB 1, RMG 2, RMG 3, and so forth, and so on. Evidence which their nature could not be marked on such a surface, such as a blood, hairs, fibers are placed in the plastic container where that container is marked. C. Tagging. Every piece of evidence that is collected and marked must be tagged. D. Preservation. Perishable material should be preserved by the way or the methods of preservation in order that they will reach the court in the same physical condition as when they were collected from the crime scene. Chain of custody. Define. Is the number of persons who handled and possessed the pieces of evidence that the moment that they were collected, marked and tagging, up to the time of the final disposition of the case. Methods of marking specific kinds of evidence. A. Guns. Revolver must be marked separately on the frame, but cylinder, barrel, and stock. For rifles, they should be marked on the barrel, frame, bolt, or slide. All magazine and accessories should also be marked. B. Revolver cylinder. Aside from the mark on the cylinder, the chamber facing the firing pin must be marked as soon as it is open for examination. Um, examination. C. Fire empty shell, misfired cartridge, cartridge, cartridges. Cartridge. Strictly, regulations say they must be marked inside the mouth in cases of fire empty cartridge. It is nearly impossible to mark them inside the mouth, especially 22 caliber shell, but they should be marked on the inside of the body of the shell, not on the base. D. Bullets or slugs. They can be marked on the ogive or nose, avoiding the land and groove marks. Reconstructing the crime. Reconstructing the crime. Defined. It is the assessment made by the investigator after crime scene investigation of how the crime committed. 2. Kinds of reconstructing the crime. A. Physical reconstruction. Reconstruction the crime is based on the physical appearance of the crime scenes, mainly focused on the face of physical evidence. B. Mental reconstruction. Based on the physical reconstruction, some convolution could be formulated taking in account all available piece of evidence. G. The development of theories. Theories define. It is the imaginative contemplation of reality, direct intellectual apprehension, insight or body of generalization and principle developed in association association with the practice in a certain field of activity. The needs of investigators theory. If there is no witness to be commission of the crime, the investigator is left with the physical evidence to formulate how the crime is committed. In his formulation, he will form theories to guide his future action. The investigator must begin with the simplest theory of how the crime was committed, and by the whom and what motivated. What motivate. He may have the more than one theory depending upon the unique circumstance of every case. He will proceed in the formulation of theories from the simplest to most complex. As the investigator progresses in the investigation and begins in the simplest theory, he will discard one by the theories he formulated as a evidence warrant until he is focused in a single theory to guide him to conclude his investigation. Field inquiry. 1. Field inquiry defined. It is a general questioning of all persons at the near or around the crime scene. 2. When to start the field inquiry. The moment that the investigator sets foot at the crime scene, he must immediately conduct the general questioning of all persons present, or he may assign his assistant or any member of the investigating team. Most often, the members of the Mobile Patrol Bureau who arrived at the scenes earlier had already conducted the field inquiry and have in their custody the witness and or the suspects. how to treat witnesses and suspect retained at the scenes. The scenes and the suspect retained at the crime scene should be immediately transported to headquarters with a basic guidelines that they should not talk with each other during the trip, and they should be immediately separated with each other upon arrival at the station. The purpose of separating the witness or suspect from the another. The purpose why there is need to separate each witness from the other, and which applies also to suspect in the preserve the independence of their respective accounts about the commission of the crime. Going back the crime scene. Number 1. Reason for going back to the crime scene. In someone's instance, crime are committed during night time. An investigator arrive at the scene at the daytime due to late discovery or delayed report about the commission of the crime. The investigator back to scenes at the exact time when the crime occurred in order to see for himself the order of things at that precise moment. His notes of concern should be the lighting condition, the distance or normally visibility, the volume of pedestrian and vehicle traffic, and other things and conditions relevant to his investigation. Second, number 2, value of the process. Having a first personal knowledge of these facts, he could use them to confront lying, exaggerated or half-truth narration or witnesses, and admission and commission of suspects. The three pieces of criminal investigation. Number 1, identification of the criminal. Number 2, the criminal is traced, located, and arrested. Number 3, the facts or evidence to prove his guilt and gathered for introduction during trial. The fourth method of identifying the criminals. Number 1, by confession or admission. Number 2, by accounts or testimonies of witnesses. Number 3, by circumstantial evidence. Number 4, by associative evidence. The two kinds of criminal for purpose of identification by witness. Non-fugitives. Number 1, non-fugitives. The criminals are known by names and other personal circumstances by the witness even before the commission of the crime. Number 2, a non-fugitives. These kinds of criminals are unknown to the witness by names and other personal circumstances before the commission of the crime. Although some of these criminals are identified by witness through their photograph in the roads, gallery, and other sources, they are classified as non-fugitive. Factors of affecting positive identification. Number 1, ability of witness to positively identify the unknown criminals depends upon his level of alertness, intelligence, vision, age, and health. Number 2, the prevailing condition of visibility and observation at the crime scene. The lapse of time between the commission of the crime and the arrest of the offender. Number 4, opportunity of criminal to various personal appearance such as the removal of mustache, sideburns, beauties, the change of the hairstyle, the addition of tattoos, facing earring, nose rings, lips rings of facilitated surgery. Methods of identification by witness. Number 1, verbal description. This is a physical description of the unknown fugitive by witness based on the extent and range of their perception. Number 2. Root's Gallery. This is the police files of photographs of the known criminal. This photograph may be directly taken by the police or those gathered from other sources to form part of the police gallery. Number 3. General photographs. The investigator should show the witness a variety of photographs which does not necessarily represent the criminal in order for the witness to approximate the nearest description of the unknown fugitive. Number 4. Cartographic sketch. It is the composite reduced to a drawing of the suspect face made by an artist and based on the description furnished by witnesses. The police lineup. Number 1. Police lineup defined. It is the process of identification by witness of the unknown fugitive who is mixed with an innocent person lined before the witnesses. Number 2. Procedures of the police lineup. A. For one suspect to be mixed with innocent person, the lineup must be at least composed of 7 persons to 10 persons. B. The appearance of those composing the lineup must be approximately the same as the highest build, complexion, hairstyle, clothing, etc. C. The witness should be instructed before entering the lineup room about the presence of the suspects. D. The suspects must be given an opportunity to select their position in the lineup. A. The lineup members are not allowed to talk during the process or make any movement which may suggest the A. The lineup of the members are not allowed to talk during the process of or make any movement which may suggest the identity of the suspect. F. The investigator should not talk or move which may indirectly identify the suspect. G. The proceedings must be covered by details report and possibly by a movie camera for court presentation. Center point of physical identification. Number 1. Face. A. Shape, square, round, oval, rectangle, heart-shaped, trapezoid, vested trapezoid, and other appropriate descriptions such as the presence of scars, moles, birthmark, etc. B. Forehead. C. Eyebrow. D. Mustache, sideburns, both. A. Eyes, deep, seated, bulging, regular, chinky, etc. F. Ears, regular, bulging, scoop, shape. G. Cheeks, deep, pointed cheekbone, round, etc. H. Nose, aquiline, regular, wide, big, nose, etc. I. Mouth, small, long, round. G. Jaw, square, regular, deep, prominent, etc. K. Lips, thick, thin, tight, arched upward or downward, etc. I. Teeth missing, yellow, reddish, big, small, etc. M. Chin receding, protruding, Clifford, etc. O. Hairs curly, straight, short, cropped, long, few, thick, or bushy, kinky, afro type, etc. 3. Neck short, long, round, sunburns, etc. 4. Shoulder, broad, regular, heavy, narrow, etc. 5. Waist, rotund, small, regular, bulging, etc. 6. Hands, tattoo, location, long, short, muscular, thin, scar, birthmark, moles, etc. 7. Fingers missing, extra numbers, short, long, short, fat, regular, etc. 8. Manner of walking, limping, amputated, left or right, or degree, whether up the knee, ankle bone, or others. 9. Voice, baritone, tenor, slow, loud, womanish, accent, barking, hoarse, stuttering, broken, etc. 10. Physical appearance, Hispanic, American, Caucasian, Asian, Negroid. 11. Complexion, brown, tan, light, fair, white, black, dry skin, corset, sweaty, or other appropriate description. The physical evidence to identify the criminal. Kinds of physical evidence. Corpus delicti. These are the object or substance which constitute the essential parts or element of the commission of the crime. It is sometimes called body of the crime, not the body of the victim. B. Accusative evidence. Piece of evidence which will link the suspect to the crime scene, as a fingerprint, foot or shoe impression are some of the example. C. Tracing evidence. Article which assists the investigator in locating the criminal stolen in possession of the suspect is thus example. Preservation and care of evidence. 1. Purpose. In order that the evidence gathered at the crime scene should have the same substantial condition when they will be presented before the court during trial. Number 2. Marking. The purpose of marking is for a positive and definite identification during trial. Modus operandi. Number 1. Modus operandi defined. Simply, it is the method of the operation by specific criminal or criminal syndicate. It is established by a serial of a crime under the classification. The modus operandi of the criminal is as distinct and different from the other. It is a criminal trademark, logo, or brand name. Examples are the use of junior-sized crowbar, residential robberies, cooking and eating the kitchen of the victim during the robbery, leaving human excreta on the rugs of victim house, or destroying a roof sheet to gain entry on the resident. This is our but few example. 2. Importance of modus operandi. A. It is one of the most useful means identification and non-fugitives. B. For use security education program of the receipt over the radio television program o seminary about safety education. Para taman sa repel.